So I was privileged recently to spend about a 24-hour period with a friend of mine that I hadn't seen for 30 years. We went to art school together, and she and I connected and said, let's just kind of meet halfway in the middle. She lives in the mountains and I live here in the Springs, and so we met in Leadville. And Leadville is this incredible town. It's a town, a mining town. It still is a mining town. They mine molybdenum now, but first gold was found there, and then it became a silver town. And a lot of the buildings, a good majority of the buildings that are there are from the turn of the century, from the late 1800s to the early 1900s. But it's a really great town, and the view there is of the mountains are right there. There's Mount Massive and this entire range, and everything was in white from the snow. And the town itself was just, it was a nice day, and it was beautiful when we were there. And we ate at one restaurant about noon the first day, and then we went into the historic saloon, which has pictures and all kinds of things in there, and we both just had juice because we weren't drinking anything but juice and that kind of thing. So we stayed there for a couple hours catching up, and then we went to another restaurant and had a really wonderful meal, and then we went back and stayed in this hotel called the Delaware Hotel. And it's a hotel that was recently sold, and originally was, those recent owners were people who my husband knew, and they sold it this year. And so they're maintaining, the new owners are maintaining some of the Western history. It's a beautiful building. I believe it was built in 1880. And it's just a great hotel. And so they're putting a new restaurant in there and a place where people can gather. And then they're going to have like an ice cream shop in the front of that will be on the main street entry. So it's just a really great thing in what they're doing, and the feeling of the people that are working there is really astounding. And the people that are owning the place are actually doing a lot of the sweat equity of putting everything together, and kids are helping out. It was just really kind of a fun thing to observe how amazing everybody's getting together to create this hotel into a new atmosphere of what it is. And my friend and I stayed in a suite. So it was this 2-room suite and had a bathroom in between, and there were antiques in the room and had a view out the window where you could kind of see down the main street. And we talked to midnight or 12:30 or so, and then we got up the next morning and we had breakfast in A Great Place, which is a relatively new restaurant there with wonderful art on the walls, and we just had a great time catching up. And it was just, you can only imagine catching up with 30 years in a 24-hour period of time before we both had to kind of go our way and come on back home again. And on my way back home, I stopped at Twin Lakes, which I've never been to. I've heard about it for years. And one of the people there in the hotel suggested, hey, why don't you go to Twin Lakes? And there's some things to see. They were telling us different places we could go to visit. And so I went to Twin Lakes, and it appeared like I was the only person there, and I just stayed for maybe it was about 45 minutes to an hour, and I just took lots of pictures of the beautiful peaks in the background and the water down below, and everything has gone to winter now. There's no more fall colors, but it was just stunning and beautiful all in its own right. Then I saw a dog across the banks, across the lake to the banks, way far in the distance, and then I heard somebody whistling for it. And then out of the edge of the water were 2 canoes. One was a red canoe and one was kind of, I believe it was kind of like a turquoise color. And they both canoed back across the lake to where I would imagine their cars were. And that was pretty sweet just to see that. And the dog was in the canoe with them. So then I drove home, and it was a beautiful drive home. And I was just happy to come back home to my husband and my 2 kitties who welcomed me home. And it was just a really nice time to get away. And so for any of you that are needing to just get away for a little while, I just say, take the time, take 24 hours. For me, it was about a day and a half. And it was so welcoming. It was good to connect with a friend I hadn't seen for a long time, and all the different things that she'd done with her family, and all the different things that she'd been involved with business and whatever over the last many years, and some of the people in her family I knew a little bit, and so we just kind of caught up on all that, and she caught up with me and all of my news as well. So it was a great time just to connect. So find somebody that you can either go and visit or just take some time to go to some place nearby. I mean, I would suggest for anybody to drive up to Leadville from Colorado Springs. It's about a 3-hour drive, maybe 2.5 if you're lucky with traffic. You know, there's a lot of mountain towns that aren't too far from the Front Range where I live, where you can get up and see a lot of things in the mountains, which are still beautiful, even if it's wintertime. And it's just, you kind of connect with the different people, and there wasn't a soul that we came across that it wasn't a great time with any of them. We just had chats and brief connections with different people that work there, and we just had a great time. So I just say, just step away for a while. Give yourself a gift of doing that, and welcome home just a new sense of yourself, of what you can do by just getting away from the regular schedule and the regular things that you do each and every day, and welcome yourself back home again. Well, it's really lovely. So the painting today, I've showed this one before, but it's Digit being the Colorado Kitty. And so she's got some really fine boots on and a fine hat, and she's learning how to rope. And here in the background are the Rocky Mountains. They're just in snow, and this is, you know, towards the end of the fall season. The sunlight and the sunsets are just absolutely gorgeous, and she's just in her heyday, having a good old time. And so that's what Digit is. And I believe this one is from, there once was a kitty named Digit. It's when Digit comes to Colorado and she adjusts from being a Texas kitty into being a Colorado kitty, of which she did in real life. So may you know that whatever you do, if you shine your light and be your brightest and best self, that you'll welcome that back to you. People reflect that back to you wherever you go. And the experiences you have with friends and just acquaintances or people that are strangers, you'll have this great experience, just like my friend and I had. And we had just a wonderful time, and it was good for us both to get away and just to have these good memories of conversation and getting, you know, in that whole idea of reacquainting ourselves with someone we once knew. And we were, there was a trio of us back in our school that hung out together. So maybe someday we'll be able to gather with our other friend and have some time together with him as well. So just sending you all lots of love, and knowing that we're all in this together, doing the very best we can, and with a smile on your face and a glad heart. It's an amazing thing which you can accomplish. It's really very simple. Life is very simple if we want it to be. And so I send you loads of love, just like Grandma used to say, love you bunches. Bye for now.